Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Is This Any Good? On this channel, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at classic movies and sometimes just regular movies, and we're going to take a deep dive and find out if those movies are any good. I just want to start off by saying that thank you for tuning in. This is my very first video ever on this channel, so please go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, leave some comments on the video if you would like to see more content like this. So basically how this channel is going to work is I'm going to go through this movie. I'm going to talk about some things that I liked about it, some things that I didn't like about it, and then at the end I'll tally all of those things up. If I liked more things about the movie, I'll say the movie was a good movie. If there were more bad things or things that I didn't like about the movie, I'll say it was a bad movie. On this channel, we're not going to do any in-betweens. It's either good or bad. That's how our grading system is going to go. So I figured I would start this channel off by doing one of my favorite movies ever as a child, and that would be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. But only a psychopath would start off on a sequel. So here we are today. We're going to be taking a look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990. So before we get started, once again, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. And if you've made it this far in the video already, please go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, and now let's get to it. So our movie starts off by giving us a good look at the Foot Clan, who's going to be our major antagonist for this movie. And it shows us, what kind of evil they're getting up to. And it's really just stealing this wallet, and they do a little handoff, to a couple different kids or whatever. But the thing that really stood out to me was nobody took like a look in the wallet. They're just passing off a wallet. It doesn't look like to me like it has any money in it. Not really the most menacing setup for an evil organization, but once again, it's a kids movie, so you got to start somewhere. So I understand. And then shortly after that, we get a quick look at the Foot headquarters. Not really a deep look. We get a much better look at the Foot headquarters a little bit later on in the movie, but this is kind of like our first glance of the Foot headquarters. And we can clearly see Danny here, who becomes one of our main characters. He just pockets these headphones, which made me, start to think about what is it that the Shredder is actually trying to accomplish here. Like his evil plan or his scheme is never really explained in the movie. He says the turtles are messing up his plan, but is his plan just to steal everything in New York? Like the stuff that they have here just seems to be like all like electronics and stuff. Like there's no like jewels or gold or jewelry, anything, diamonds, nothing like that. It's just all technology stuff. And the stuff that they do have, looking back, it just looks like a room full of junk. So I'm really not sure what the Shredder's evil plan is, or his scheme, or what they're trying to accomplish. But hey, that's how we're kicking it off. I mean, it's an interesting visual. I'll give it that. It's an interesting visual to look at to kind of give you a nice little introduction to who our main antagonist is going to be throughout this movie. All right, so this is probably going to be my most nitpicky dislike thing for this video, and that's going to be the sound effects here when the Ninja Turtles first appear. To me, they just sound absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't even really sound like the voice actors of the Turtles are doing the sound effects. When you compare them to like the noises that they make while fighting later on in the movies, these ones just stand out as being a little bit goofy. And I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it for these sound effects. That's my most nitpicky one, I think. I don't know. We're still kind of early in this video, but I think that's my most nitpicky dislike about this movie so far. But that gets followed up by a really nice character building moment when Donnie and Michelangelo are in the sewer. We can see Donnie skateboarding in the sewers, which I think is a really good world building moment. A lot of times in movies, it feels like the world that the characters are living in is just like like a movie set, and it's not fully fleshed out. You wonder what characters do in their off time or when they're not doing whatever's on screen. And I think this moment here is really good as far as the world building. Like, yeah, they're just teenagers, they skateboard in the sewer and they hang out and they order pizza. They live lives like anybody else would live, and I think that's amazing for this movie. And that's something a lot of movies really miss out on as far as world building, is making it seem like this is an actual world that's lived in. But following that up, we have Mikey ordering pizza, and I get it, never pay full price for late pizza, but come on, Mikey, you got a tip. you gotta leave a tip, man. I think this man rode a moped or a scooter thing all the way out here, man. Looked like it was cold outside. Maybe it was a little wet. I don't know. But you gotta leave a man a tip, man. Come on, Mikey, do better. You gotta be better. Always tip your delivery drivers, people, please. So now let's talk about the characters for a little bit. Absolutely, my favorite character I think in this was Casey Jones.
Well, that was a crime, you curse-scrubbing pukes.
Elias Kotas. I know I absolutely butchered that name. I apologize off the bat. But he did an amazing job as Casey Jones in this. He was cool. His fight scenes were great. He really embodied that character. To be fair, I never really watched the 80s cartoon. I think I've seen a few episodes here and there. My first introduction besides this to the Ninja Turtles was the 2003 cartoon. And that, you know, Casey is just this cool guy, whole bunch of hands. He'll beat anybody. He'll bang with the turtles. And he was just everything. He was everything he was supposed to be in this movie. It was a real shame he didn't come back for number 2. We got Keno instead. And I like Keno, but he's just not Casey Jones. Casey Jones, absolute standout in this movie. 10 out of 10 for sure. So coming off of that, we have the Turtles. And interesting enough, most of the Turtles don't really have an arc in this or really a lot to even do. This movie is mainly about Raph, which I don't have a problem with at all. You know, it's kind of hard to have like an ensemble cast and give everybody an arc. It's really hard to do, which is I think why kind of like the Marvel movies are so popular, because they make these ensemble movies, and you know, a lot of the main characters have a whole arc in them. And you know, before that, it was really hard to find movies like that. So Raph is really our main character in this. He's the only one who really does anything. The only thing Leo does is yell at Raph so he could go get his ass beat up on the roof. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then Mikey and Donnie really don't do anything. Crazy enough, I think Mikey and Donnie are basically the same character in this movie. They're both cracking jokes. They're both zipping one-liners. They're actually seen on screen together a lot. Those two are paired up together, and Donnie really doesn't do anything to like separate himself as the smart one in this, besides when he fixed that car with Casey. That was really the only smart thing. I think he gets you know, more moments to shine in the second one. If I remember correctly, he does some sciencey stuff, or he makes a cure to... He does a lot more sciencey stuff in the second one, but this one, everything that Donnie did in the movie, it could all be Mikey. Everything Mikey did, it could all be Donnie, to be honest with you. They're basically the same character. But being that Raph was the main character, he gets some pretty decent moments in this that I thought were pretty entertaining. First of all, Turtle in the trench coat, hilarious. Great look. I thought that was awesome. He has this moment here where he stops these two kids from robbing an old lady and stealing her purse, and he shows off his sai, and they book it running. They made it to play like it was because of the sai, but it was definitely because they just seen a giant walking turtle in a trench coat. It's definitely why they took off. And also we get Raph saying damn 3 times in the first 14 minutes of this movie. Just really emphasizing that he's the angry one in here. That's really the only really solid, like, this turtle is this, I think, that we get in the movie. I know Leo is supposed to be the leader, like I said, but he doesn't really do anything or show anything that really strongly indicates that he was the leader to me. I mean, he's the one who figured out the meditation thing later, which we'll touch on, but besides that, he doesn't really do anything. I already said Mikey and Donnie don't really do anything. But Raph, I guess he has his little character arc, or his little character journey from being very angry to slightly less angry. And we'll see if that holds up in the second movie when we touch on that next week. So sticking with the characters for a little bit, I want to talk about the costumes. There's no way we could talk about this movie and not get into the costumes, and I absolutely thought the costumes in this was amazing. Looking at this, watching this in 2023, it really holds up. The costumes were made by Jim Henson and his team. You guys may know Jim Henson from the Muppets, creator of the Muppets, and the costumes are just amazing. The Turtles, Splinter, it looks and feels like these are, real turtles reacting with their real environments. And the fact that basically everything in this movie was practical, there's not a lot of special effects, CGI and everything, it really helps with the realism in the movie. Although, some of the newer ones with the CGI and everything, you could do a lot more as far as like action is concerned. You could play everything up bigger. I think the level that we got with this movie, and really the second one of action and fighting and choreography was amazing. You know, they didn't feel like these larger than life characters that couldn't be touched, or really you can't really do anything with them, which I feel like is a takeaway from the new ones. You know, when you have these giant 12-foot turtles probably weighing 300-400 pounds that also know, you know, how to fight and use karate and ninjutsu, you know, whatever it is that they're using, what are you supposed to do with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just have normal kids or normal, you know, Foot Clan members fighting them. Now you gotta kind of ramp up the world, which it's not a bad thing, but I really like what they're doing here. And the costumes are just A1, 10 out of 10 for the costumes, man. Shout out Jim Henson, RIP to him, man. He did his thing with these. And just for the fact that it's 30 years later and everything holds up, you look at a lot of movies from the early 90s, late 80s, man, and look at their special effects and their costuming, and a lot of it looks bad, not gonna lie. So the fact that this holds up is real testament to that team and the effort and the hard work that they put into to bring these characters to life. But with that being said, the baby turtles are really the stuff of nightmares, man. They were not vibing. I did not like the baby turtle stuff, man. They looked real creepy. I remember not liking them as a kid too, and I still don't like them to this day. I mean, you know, they kind of kept it dark. You don't really see too much of it, but I don't know. They just look creepy to me, man. And that, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe that's just the me thing, but I don't like the baby turtle designs. The small Splinter one is cool. That it just looks like a rat, so I guess you can't really mess that up. But I wasn't feeling the baby turtles. I was not feeling the baby turtles at all. All right, so sticking with characters and character designs, I didn't like the Shredder costume either. I know it's pretty similar to the 80s cartoon, which was, you know, the predecessor to this, but it just doesn't look intimidating to me. He has all the, you know, the blades and the knives, and it really does look, I'm pretty sure they were going to, you know, to match the 80s cartoon look, which they pretty much did, but I don't know. This one just kind of looks a little bit goofy, and I feel like with the tone of the movie, how they kind of went with the darker tone for the movie, they could have made the Shredder costume a bit more menacing. You know, none of the blades on them look real sharp, and I know it's a kids movie, so you don't want these, you don't want an Edward Scissorhand, you know, where he has all these sharp ass blades on him. But it just didn't scream, you know, this is a leader of this great evil organization. You know, if I was one of the kids in the Foot Clan, you know what I'm saying, I seen this dude, you know, if I seen the Shredder, I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, nah, this is somebody I definitely need to be scared of. I would be like, that's a weird fashion choice, man. Like, why are you wearing this? You look stupid. You look stupid, my boy.
Why am I wearing this ridiculous mask? Might as well put it back on.
But his performance was okay, I guess. You know, he doesn't really get too much screen time, but you know, the time he is in there, he does a pretty good job. So I don't really like the costume, but the actual Shredder was good. He was good. All right, so let's move on from characters for a second. Let's talk about the fight scene on the roof. This was definitely, in my opinion, this was the best action set piece for the movie. You had a lot of different things going on. First, you got, you know, it's Raph one-on-one with a whole bunch of ninjas, probably about 50 or 60 Foot Clan, and he out there banging, he out there throwing them things, man. But I know he got his ass knocked out, but he was out there throwing them things before he got knocked out. So I give Raph his props. He was doing this thing, and you get a lot of other, you know, just good character moments. You know, the turtles start off, you know, doing a whole bunch of, you know, one-liners, and they're having fun, and you know, they doing their thing. They was winning at first, you know, but then them numbers started dropping in, and you know, it started to feel like they may not win this fight, and you could kind of get that tonal shift, you know, where the turtles are just kind of having fun, everything's going, you know, it's not great, but they winning, you know. And now as the numbers grow, that you feel that shift happen, like, oh, they starting to, you know, they starting to get the paws put on them now, you know what I'm saying? And it starts to look real bad for my boys, until my man Casey Jones pulled up. You know what I'm saying? Casey Jones pulled up, that whole thing shit. They like, who is this? And hey, it don't matter. He here to crack heads. You feel me? So Casey Jones show up. That fight scene is absolutely amazing. It was awesome. It had me on the edge of my seat. It's been a minute since I seen this movie, but I love that. That whole fight scene was amazing. And I really think that part of the reason why is it shows that, you know, the turtles aren't just this overwhelming force. You know what I'm saying? They could be had in the right situation. You know what I'm saying? You get the right numbers, which the Foot Clan got. You get enough good fighters in there, which the Foot Clan got. Y'all could get put down. You know what I'm saying? And it was already down a turtle. It was looking bad for them, and I like things like that where, you know, especially where your main protagonist isn't just overwhelmingly powerful compared to whoever or whatever they're going up against. You know, I felt like the Foot is a serious threat. You know, they can't just steamroll through the Foot, and these are just the Foot, you know, just the Foot soldiers. That's not the Shredder or anything, and you know they were struggling with that. So I like that element. So then let's jump forward a little bit more, and I want to talk about the moment where the turtles communicate with Master Splinter, and he says his goodbyes, and it's really like in Splinter's mind, it's his last words. He doesn't think he's going to make it out of this situation, so, you know, he tells his boys that he loves them, and, you know, this was the last basically step of their training, and they're on their own now. And it's a really powerful and it's a really touching scene, and the emotion that you get out of the turtles in this scene I think is fantastic. And this kind of goes back to what I said about the costumes. Like, after Splinter says his goodbyes, the turtles don't really say anything, but it's a lot of body acting. It's a lot of really, really, really good body acting, because you could just feel the emotion, and you could feel like everything that they're experiencing. They don't really know how to process what just happened. It's amazing, and to get that level of body acting out of people in, you know, these big bulky suits, I think is absolutely fantastic. A lot of times, you know, you could just have regular people in their regular bodies and you won't get that type of level of body acting. So to get that out of these people in costumes, it just really goes to show you that, you know, doing practical stuff and having the, you know, the right people work on stuff could really go a long way. Because that scene was touching, and it wasn't, and I think not having him say anything really added to it too, right? Because what do you say after your father or your father figure tells you, you know, these are my last words, this is goodbye? Is there anything you can say after that? You know, but you still feel everything without a word being said. And, you know, in movies, it's all of, you know, the key thing I think in movies a lot of times is show us, don't tell us. And that was a perfect example of them showing us exactly what the turtles were going through. All right, so I have another nitpicky dislike again. I don't know if this is more nitpicky than the sound effects one that I did earlier, but when Casey goes and they rescue Master Splinter, he has this moment after he knocks out Shredder's number 2, whose name I can't remember at right now, but it's this guy right here. He has the moment where he's talking with everybody else who's in the Foot headquarters, and, you know, they're trying to, you know, one guy even says, you know, what are we doing just standing around? Let's go get him. We're all a family here, and this guy is messing with our family. What we got? We need to stop this. And Casey basically is like,
this here and that down there, family.
But he never really like goes into explain why they not a family. I think they should have dived deeper into that a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of those kids, you know what I'm saying, probably didn't have anywhere to go, and they probably didn't have anyone to look out for him and who cared for him and who cared, you know, if they were doing good or doing bad, or even if they were just didn't even care if they were there, you know. And, you know, the Shredder, his end game or his end goal may have not have been, you know, the best, or the way he went about things may not have been the best, but he did give these kids a place to go when the outside world rejected them. They had nowhere else to go. And I get that for a kid like Danny, a lot doesn't even really need to be said, you know what I'm saying, because he has somewhere else to go. He has, you know, a parent who cares about him, you know what I'm saying. He was just kind of rebelling just to rebel, but I'm positive a lot of those kids, that wasn't the case for them, you know. I'm pretty sure for a lot of those kids, they had absolutely nowhere else to go. And so I think really what we were just missing there was just something else, you know. And it didn't even have to come from Casey. I think it could have came from Splinter, and it probably would have been better if it came from Splinter, because he was there too. Of just like, what you guys have here is it is a family, but it's not a healthy family. keep the family dynamic that you guys have, but turn it into something positive. Going around New York and stealing from people isn't it. Going around beating up women and robbing them, and you know, that's not it. But the support system, right? The support system, let's keep that, you know, support each other, but change the negative to a positive. And I get it, we're getting to it's only a 90-minute movie, so we're getting towards the end of the movie, and we still have to have our big fight scene with the Shredder. But I think, you know, an extra 2 or 3 minutes just to really emphasize why these kids have a change of heart, because they have a change of heart. They basically all of those guys flip and they have a change of heart, and you know, they tell the police at the end, you know, where to find everything, and there was really no real reason for it. I think they could have did a lot better, you know, just explaining that. So now we're finally at the climax of the movie, the big fight scene with the Shredder. And I know that, you know, a lot of times in movies there's this trope of, you know, when you're fighting a large group of people, everybody only, you know, attacks one at a time, which happens here. Turtles only attack the Shredder one at a time, and most of the time I'm willing to suspend my disbelief, you know, in situations like that, especially if the fight choreography is good, which this fight choreography I think was amazing. So I don't have a problem with that, although it's dumb. It's very dumb. There's 4 of you guys, if y'all don't go jump that man, like, come on now. But I'm willing to go past that. The fight choreography was really good, but one thing I cannot forgive them though is this moment right here, that they just got the Turtles doing a whole football huddle, taking a break in the middle of the fight. They don't even really talk about nothing. They just like, hey man, I don't know what's happening, but that man got them things on. Maybe we should all fight together. Nah, let's keep attacking them one by one. It's gotta work eventually. One of them gotta take him down. Like, no, y'all getting whooped on, man. Go jump that man. Go jump that man, right? Not only does the Shredder allow them to have a whole football huddle right in the middle of their fight, but you can see him just wandering around aimlessly in the background, right? And I promise you, I know exactly what he was thinking. He was like, are they huddling up right now in the middle of this fight? Okay, I guess I'll let them do that. Like, I don't really know what to do with myself right now. Like, should I go hit them? Nah. Sorry, I'll let them do their thing. Like, come on, Shredder. You could have been ended them. You could throw a kunai or something. I don't know if you carry kunai. Throw a kunai at them. You know what I'm saying? Let them huddle up in the middle of y'all fight, man. It's not the ninja way, or maybe it is the ninja way. I don't know. But yeah, I couldn't forget that moment. Once again, the Shredder's costume already makes him look dumb, and then that moment also made him look dumb. So another thing that I liked about this is we just have Casey Jones casually, accidentally committing murder here, and I thought that was hilarious. I know that Shredder comes back in the second movie, so Casey really isn't a murderer, but Casey is definitely a murderer, and this is a gruesome way to go out, man. Getting crushed to death it has to be in the top 10 list as far as ways to die, like worst ways to die. Getting crushed to death has to be on the top 10 for sure. So this will be my last dislike, I guess, for this video, and this one is kind of a little nitpicky too. But at the end, we just have, you know, the Turtles just screaming their lungs off to Casey and April.
Woohoo! 9.95!
At the end, and come on guys, ninjas. You guys are ninjas. I get that you're happy, but ninjas, right? Stealth. Nobody's supposed to see you or hear you. Y'all just yelling to Casey and April like there aren't hundreds of other people on the ground, right? Come on, man. Do better. Y'all gotta be better. Still, just have them not do that. Just have them, they don't have to do that. Just have them not do that. You have April and Casey making out, and the Turtles are just dancing, high-fiving on the roof, right? Two different things, don't got to be intertwined. And then this is my last thing, right before I tally all my votes up and figure out if I actually like this movie or didn't. At the end here, after their fight with the Shredder, you could see that the Turtles are kind of bruised up, you know? And I think that's a really amazing attention to detail thing. Like, once again, amazing work on the costumes, like showing like, hey, yeah, no, the Turtles won, but the Shredder was handing it to him for, you know. So to see that they're bruised up and everything after their fight was pretty cool to see. So that is it. It is finally time for the moment of truth. I'm gonna let y'all know if this was actually a good movie or if this was a bad movie. Thank you all if you stayed watching this video till this point. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, please leave a like, please subscribe. Also leave a comment. Tell me, do you think this was a good movie or do you think this was a bad movie? I want to hear from you guys, please. All right, after discussion with the panel of experts, which is just me, myself, and I we have come to the conclusion that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 is in fact a bad movie. I know. I wanted to say it was a good movie so bad, but I had more dislikes than likes on this one, so I got to say it is a bad movie. However, I did enjoy watching it, so I'll give it that. I enjoyed watching this movie for sure, and I'm really excited to take a look at TMNT 2 Secret of the Ooze next week. Like I said, that was one of my favorite movies as a kid, and I really hope that I don't have to get on the internet and say it's a bad movie. But the only way you guys will know if that's going to happen is by liking and subscribing to this one. Yeah, thank you all for tuning into this video, dropping it again. Please like, subscribe. Also, leave comments. I already want to hear if you guys think this movie is good or if you think it's bad. But you also give me some suggestions on some other movies you want me to take a look at. I already know what I'm doing next week, but after that, honestly, I'm not sure what movie I'm going to take a look at. And it could be anything from any point in time, anything. Let's look at them all. Like I said, I kind of want to do classic movies, but we could do whatever. Some people may not think this is a classic movie, so leave comments, give me some ideas on some stuff that you guys want to see. I'm so glad that you guys tuned into this video, and thank you honestly for viewing. Like I said, this is my first video. I'm hoping to keep upping the quality. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'm gonna keep trying to up the quality and make things better as my video next week will be hopefully better than this one. So thank you all for tuning in to my first video. Please stick around for the journey. It's going to be a lot of good stuff, a lot of great stuff coming for the future. So once again, thank you guys. I'll see you next week.